In the amber glow of the Willow Whisper Café, nestled on a cobblestone corner of autumn-kissed Boston, Ethan Blackwood nursed a lukewarm espresso like a reluctant confession. At 34, he was a portrait of refined melancholy, tall and lean, with windswept auburn hair that framed a face etched by quiet sorrows, hazel eyes like polished oak carrying the weight of unspoken regrets, and a smile that flickered rare, like fireflies in twilight. Once a promising architect whose designs dreamed of soaring spires, Ethan now sketched blueprints for soulless high-rises, his passion buried with his wife, Clara, who had slipped away 5 years prior in a whisper of ovarian cancer. Their daughter, Willow, had followed months later, a fragile bloom lost to a sudden fever, leaving Ethan adrift in a sea of WFS. Dates were distractions, scripted charades to appease well-meaning friends, but tonight's felt like surrender. Across the scarred oak table sat Sophie Larkspur, 29, and radiant as morning dew, porcelain skin dusted with freckles like scattered constellations, golden waves tumbling to her shoulders, and emerald eyes that danced with unfeigned warmth. A pediatric therapist by day, Sophie wove stories for children mending broken worlds, her laughter a melody that could coax smiles from shadows. This blind setup, courtesy of a mutual colleague, had sparked with promise, shared tales of lost parents, dreams of coastal escapes. But as the evening waned, Ethan's walls rose higher. Sophie's gentle probe, "What blueprint would you draw for happiness now?" met his evasive murmur, "Something simple. Unremarkable." The air thickened with unspoken finality. He glanced at his watch, the second hand ticking like a countdown to escape. "I should go," he said, voice flat as forgotten sketches. "Early meeting." Sophie's smile faltered, a petal wilting under frost, but she nodded with grace. "Of course. It was lovely, Ethan." She gathered her scarf, emerald silk whispering against the chill seeping through the cafe's fogged windows. Patrons murmured in the periphery, couples lost in candlelit intimacies, a lone poet scribbling verses, but the world narrowed to their parting handshake, cool and courteous as autumn rain. Then, the bell above the door tinkled like a hesitant chime, and time fractured. A little girl, no more than 6, slipped inside, her tiny frame swallowed by an oversized woolen coat the color of faded lavender. Barefoot save for mismatched socks, one polka-dotted pink, the other striped blue, she clutched a crumpled daisy chain like a talisman. Willow, yes, her name was Willow Hawthorne, though Ethan wouldn't know that yet, had wandered from a shelter 2 blocks away, her social worker dozing under fluorescent despair. The cafe hushed as she padded forward, wide doe eyes the shade of storm-washed skies scanning the room with desperate hope. Rain glistened on her raven curls, plastering them to cheeks flushed from the cold, and in her free hand dangled a soggy drawing, a crayon house with stick figure family, labeled in wobbly script, Daddy's home. She stopped at Ethan's table, her gaze locking on him as if drawn by invisible thread. Sophie paused mid-rise, heart twisting. Ethan, coat half on, froze, the ghost of his own Willow flickering in the girl's fragile stance. "Mister." Willow's voice was a threadbare whisper, trembling like leaves in wind. The cafe held its breath, fork suspended, conversations dissolving into echoes, as she extended the daisy chain, petals drooping like weary prayers. "You look like my daddy. He promised he'd come back from the big job. Said he'd build me a castle with windows for stars. But he didn't. And Mommy says he's in heaven now, drawing clouds. Do you draw clouds, mister? Can you tell him Willow's waiting? That I made this for him, but it's for you too. Because maybe you're lost like me." The words hung, crystalline and shattering, slicing through the veil of Ethan's armor. His throat tightened, vision blurring as memories cascaded. Willow's laughter in sun-dappled rooms, her tiny hand in his sketching castles on napkins, the sterile hospital hush where he'd whispered promises to a fevered brow. Daddy's home. The phrase she'd cooed at dawn, now echoed by this stranger's child, a dagger of divine irony. Tears traced silent paths down his stubbled cheeks, unbidden, as the cafe blurred into a watercolor of stunned faces. Sophie reached for Willow instinctively, drawing her close, but the girl nestled against Ethan's knee instead, her warmth a lifeline pulling him from the abyss. I draw more than clouds," Ethan rasped, sinking to his haunches, the coat pooling forgotten at his feet. He took the chain, fingers trembling as he looped it around her wrist, petals brushing skin like benedictions. "I draw homes. Ones that hold all the stars. And your daddy, he's not lost. He's watching, Willow. Building the biggest castle, with rooms for every daisy you dream." His voice cracked, raw as exposed heartwood, and Sophie knelt beside them, her hand finding his, a bridge across the chasm. In her eyes, he saw not pity, but recognition, the shared language of loss, the alchemy of turning grief to grace. The moment rippled outward. The barista, tears gleaming, poured hot cocoa without charge. The poet abandoned his quill to sketch Willow's portrait. An elderly couple at the corner table shared their umbrella, voices weaving a chorus of comfort. Willow's social worker arrived minutes later, breathless apologies tumbling, but the girl clung to Ethan a beat longer, whispering, "You're not lost anymore, mister. You found me." As she was led away, the cafe exhaled, applause swelling soft and reverent, not for drama, but for the miracle of mended fractures. Ethan didn't leave that night. Instead, he and Sophie lingered till closing, words flowing like thawed rivers. Her brother's overdose, the children she held through nightmares, his blueprints reborn as playgrounds for the fatherless. Willow's echo lingered, a catalyst igniting what fear had dimmed. Love, not as escape, but as excavation, unearthing souls long buried. Days wove into weeks. Ethan redesigned the shelter into a castle of safe harbors. Sophie facilitating art therapy where Kranz conjured lost daddy's home. Willow visited often, her daisy chains adorning Ethan's drafting table, her giggles the soundtrack to budding romance. Their story, captured in a patron's hushed video, The Girl Who Froze Time, swept the world like wildfire, amassing millions of views not for spectacle, but for its pulse. A reminder that in the hush of halfway moments, strangers become saviors, and whispers from the small rewrite the large. A year later, under a canopy of willows by the Charles River, Ethan knelt before Sophie, a ring etched with starlit windows. "You didn't just stop me from leaving," he murmured, echoing Willow's gift. "You brought me home." In the grand architecture of lives, Willow's words stood eternal. Sometimes, to find your way, you must first be found, by a child's unfiltered truth, freezing time just long enough for hearts to thaw, bloom, and build anew. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up sign, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heavy Blackheart Hash.